Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Entertainment Podcast, your source for all things entertainment. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have John Petrocelli on the line, and he's CEO and founder over at Bulldog DM. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, so I'm excited to get you on the show today. I mean, you've been on the forefront of video streaming since before. I'm guessing a lot of the listeners that are listening to this podcast right now even knew video streaming was a thing. So let's see, just to kick off the conversation, let's get into what you're doing over at Bulldog DM. So tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. Bulldog DM, we're a live streaming company focused on premium content and really applying best practices to where all the various stakeholders meet in that industry, which could be, brands, content creators, platforms, et cetera. And we're able to kind of take this position based on a pretty lengthy history in the overall market. And, today we provide all of the services needed to live stream at a quality optimum level. And we also help brands and we help connect them into experiences. A lot of what's happening in the market today is around experiential marketing, and, we help amplify that. So if someone's doing something really interesting, like a release of a vehicle for an automaker, we can help bring that to a larger, highly engaged audience, on their connected devices to a live streamed experience. So it kind of covers that overall spectrum.
Let's get a little bit further into the concept of what premium content is, and I'll tell you where I'm going with this, John. I think a lot of people, when they think of streaming, all they think about is maybe like on Facebook, they hit the button and it's kind of more like a novelty. Like they don't actually understand like the professional side of streaming and how important and how huge that can be for their brand. So let's go a little further into what the premium experience is versus just hitting the button on your phone and holding the camera up, because night and day difference.
Yeah, it's an important distinction too. I think premium really a great way to define it is something that a brand marketer or a brand would sponsor, present, and power. So it could be, a music festival. I think an experience like Petrocelli is a great example. That's, now the marquee live experience across, the YouTube platform. You have massive audiences tuning in globally. It's a highly produced, beautifully presented, almost kind of the next best thing to physically being at the festival is the video experience that happens. That's another example. See brands, and the brands we've worked with include, Netflix, Apple, AT&T, Samsung, and it could be a similar music festival. It could be a product launch or an announcement, a red carpet experience. It's almost like a television broadcast happening in real live time, but largely, IP based, or, you're tuning in on your smartphone or your connected device. And the reason this has now become a highly sought after experience is that majority or all of the social platforms have now started to launch live video, and they're kind of optimized for it. So obviously with folks camped out across those platforms now, live video really kind of changes the dynamic, and you start to see extended watch times. Ultimately what we have found, having done this for 2 decades, is fans and consumers and viewers really enjoy a collaborative, participatory experience, and that's where we bring the word premium to play, because that could be a beautifully produced concert that was brought to you by an automaker or by somebody like Snickers or American Express, and that's kind of the what we mean by premium.
Let's go a little bit further in down that path of experiential marketing and what that means, because that's another huge concept that I think these two are like married, like this whole experiential marketing and live streaming for premium content. I mean, they just go hand in hand. So a little bit more, because again, you've been there 20 years, experiential marketing and what that benefit is for the fans or for the brands and the fans really, and why that's so important.
Well, experiential has become a big area of emphasis and prioritization in the marketing community, media community as well. And that's largely due to the fact that we're now in the kind of the throes of what people have called the experience economy, largely fueled by millennial Gen Z consumers who prioritize experiences over almost everything else. They want to be at a concert or a performance or a conference that's right, into the content niche or kind of even a lifestyle experience. And we see that reflected in kind of the growth or the success of a company like Live Nation that's had like 8 years of record-breaking year-over-year growth. And what marketers are now doing is saying, hey, I want to build things like pop-up experiences, or I want to sponsor a concert at the Final Four, or a kickoff concert at something like the Super Bowl or the NBA All-Star Game. So those are really, that's where consumers can kind of touch and feel and be at the show. But we have found that there's an opportunity for those presenters to amplify that experience and bring it beyond the room or the arena or the venue that they've booked to hold the experience. And that audience can be 50 times or up to 150 times the attendees. And the interesting component there is people want to watch and they want to tune in. And we see really sustained watch times, 10, 20, 30, 40 plus minutes in a live, branded experience. So that's kind of it's been like this perfect storm of that fuel around the experience economy, combined with continued adoption of connected devices that can play video, obviously things like smartphones as well. So it's all kind of had this perfect storm, and that's why live streaming is now such a big area that's garnering quite a bit of attention, in addition to things like the esports world and platforms like Twitch, where people are consuming live video around the clock on those platforms.
No, I love it, and I think the opportunity, the amount of marketing dollars that are now going there, especially from big brands. I mean, it just works. Like you want to give somebody an experience, you want to give somebody something that may have taken branding wise once upon a time. Let's just think like Coca-Cola model, right? It's everywhere. So now you see that red sign and you know what it is. I mean, that took decades and decades. That took my whole lifetime, I would say, before I was kind of brainwashed into it. But now, just imagine you catch somebody at the height of this festival experience or something else, and all of a sudden they're having that emotional connection to whatever the event is, and your brand's in front of them. You could have an instant, like, real fan base and or follower and or consumer of your product, like, immediately after one experience.
Absolutely. And, with live streaming, we can get very creative in how the experience is presented. So, for instance, we've done a festival like Governor's Ball in New York, streamed out to the viewer, presented by AT&T, and the viewer can, we're capturing content across 4 different stages, all 3 days of the festival, and the viewers can now switch back and forth, and they might want to see Travis Scott's performance, or perhaps it's Jack White, and people want to tune in and see that show. In addition, we can develop things like a social stream where people can post, comment, share, tweet, and chat about what they're watching. It tends to have people in more. They're sharing it out to their friends and inviting them to come and have that collaborative experience. And we can even take it to a level where we have a schedule widget that shows you who's performing on what day and what time. And there can be polling and trivia and even a photo wall. So ultimately for brands, it becomes very successful in that the viewer is now transformed into a participant in that live streamed experience. And that's where we unlock this really sustained, watch time. And this has now become a really interesting opportunity given the challenges that marketers face. So you've got this rampant problem of cord cutting, you've got another issue with ad blocking, and then a third issue of brand safety. And live, beautifully produced experience kind of addresses all 3 of those challenges and really kind of resonates with today's consumer.
Awesome. So final question, John. What excites you about streaming, events-wise or otherwise, looking forward into 2020? For what we're seeing across the market is, I think, a big interest in music. Today, that's a passion of nearly, I think it's like we've seen statistics that suggest that 87% of people under the age of 35 or 40, that's their hobby, their passion, their go-to leisure time experience. And that's also, that
industry itself now has really had a renaissance, especially around touring and performing and ticketing, combined with, the monetization aspect that's happening through Apple and through Spotify. So we see that as a really interesting opportunity for everybody, for brands that want to power these experiences, for the promoters as well as the artists, but also the fans. If, your favorite artist is Eminem and he's, touring in another part of the world, another part of the country, you could tune in and watch, one of his shows, and that could be brought to you by Samsung or Amex. And that could literally happen today anywhere, because we've seen, YouTube is off and running 10 years in with a really compelling live platform. Twitter years ago acquiring Periscope now has a great platform where they can, you can tune in and discuss what you're watching. And we've seen that replicated. Now you also have, Twitch moving beyond just esports, offering music and live cultural experiences. And then even a platform like, Facebook has launched Facebook Live in 2016. And today Instagram, I think 100 million people a day watch or create live video. So all those platforms are ready, they're optimized, and it becomes an interesting business. Sports has always been the kind of leader in the space, but in digital platforms and connected devices, I think you'll see, music, fashion, art, culture, all becoming real compelling live experiences that kind of lift and generate success for anybody in that ecosystem.
Man, John, you got me all excited. I want to go create something. I'm over here thinking, but then I'm like, wait a minute, we're on a podcast. That's cool.
Sure.
I love it, man. You got me fired up. So, hey, John, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more or to connect on you with on Bulldog DM, what's the best way for them to learn more about the company, please?
Definitely head to our website, bulldogdm.com, and we've got some case studies there and talks about some of the customers that we work with, and a little bit about our big thing is best practices. We walk people through, here's the right way to do this if you want to dip your toe in and start. So yeah, all of our information is at our website.
Fantastic. Well, hey, John, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background, all the great stuff you're doing over at Bulldog DM, and the past and the future of streaming. So thanks for all those updates. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Entertainment, be sure to subscribe there, and also leave us some comments in the video section. Love to keep the conversation going over in the YouTube community. And John, thanks again for coming on the show.